Hey guys, Pete Weintraub here, and thanks again for tuning in to our Facebook Live video for the week. We're covering a lot of topics on nutrition and mindset, and we got some great questions. BJ asked about half a dozen, and BJ, that's cool. And for anybody here, that's cool. If that's something you want to do, if you have a lot of questions on one topic like BJ did, all the better. That's going to enable me to answer his questions, and I'm sure many of you in the permanent weight loss community have many of the same questions as well. So we'll get into his questions. We're also going to get into Sonia had a question too about mindset, and more specifically, how to stay motivated and on track mentally and physically when you've kind of hit a plateau on your weight loss journey. And I apologize if there's a lag or anything today. I'm toying with this new software called OBS, and it enables me to pull up specific graphics, which I think will be helpful to our cause here. So I'm going to answer BJ's questions first. He was the first to comment, and then after I answer each one of his questions, we're going to go to Sonia's question, and that'll be that. If you do comment on the link here, then I'll do my best to check it, but I'm actually dealing with the software right now. I'm not looking at the Facebook feed all that often. I'll check it after I answer every couple of questions. So if you want to say hi or you have a question on a topic, maybe you want me to elaborate a little more, please let me know and I'll be sure to get to it. So number one, let's look at what BJ had here. So BJ wanted to cover stress eating, healthy snacks, how to not eat the deliciously unhealthy free food at work, how to structure an eating plan when you're always hungry, and lastly, pre and post-workout nutrition. So let's cover those things one at a time, and we'll do our best to answer all of those. And I'm pretty sure we'll be able to do so in the 30 to 40 minutes that I've allotted for this. So number one, stress eating. A lot of us turn to food as comfort. Unfortunately, it's just what's common in our culture and in our society. And I mean, obviously, a lot of people who I've dealt with over my 10 years in the industry all say, well, I'm not a drug addict, I'm not a sex addict, I'm not an alcoholic, I don't have all these other addictions and issues, but there is such a thing as food addiction. And the reason is there are certain types of foods, grains and sugars primarily, that are incredibly addictive. They light up our brains like a Christmas tree. They release a series of chemicals and hormones in our bodies that make us feel almost euphoric, and in the moment when we ingest these foods, we do feel better. That's why the term comfort food was coined. Unfortunately, outside of the very temporary comfort that these foods give you, they really don't do you any good. And in fact, if you're in this community, you're obviously looking to lose weight, usually a good amount of weight as well, and you're looking to improve your health because you want to avoid weight loss surgery, perhaps heart disease, diabetes, something along those lines runs in your family. So you just got to ask yourself before you eat the ice cream or the cupcake or the pizza or whatever it is that you're going to indulge in, I used air quotes there, what good is this going to do you? It's a temporary comfort. And in our society, we all like to do what a lot of camels and ostriches, is it camel or ostrich? One of those animals likes to do is when they're afraid, their defense mechanism, their way of dealing with fear is they put their heads in the sand. And obviously, their entire body is exposed. They're a lot less likely to be able to fight off a predator or something that's endangering them. But that's their defense mechanism. And unfortunately, as human beings, that's what a lot of us tend to do too, by emotional eating or by other types of addictions. So in terms of stress eating, which obviously if you're busy at work, you got busy stuff going on in your life, look, I understand. It's perfectly normal. It's perfectly fine. But you need to just ask yourself, what good is this going to do me? Is this going to help me reach my goals? Is this going to get me healthier? Is this going to help me lose weight? Chances are the answer is no. So it's just drilling that into your mind. Every time an opportunity presents itself, I know you asked about the delicious free food at work. We'll get into that in a second. But yeah, every time it crosses your mind and you're on the verge of grabbing something and putting it in your mouth, you have to also realize you're in control. This is your life. This is your body. You control what you eat and what you don't. It's not like you're tied up like in those action movies and all your limbs are nailed down and someone's forcing your mouth open while someone else, like in Temple of Doom, Indiana Jones, when they're like making him drink that potion that turns him into this weird zombie guy for a little bit until the little kid burns him, and I don't know. Anyway, you have control. That's the bottom line. So if you have control, then don't let it happen. Just don't let it happen. Come prepared as well. That's a big thing with stress eating and avoiding any type of emotional eating, is to come prepared. Using the food guide that I gave you, and it's attached in the description to this group. So using the food guide that I gave you, really internalizing the information, maybe doing some grocery shopping and preparing some healthy meals and snacks that you can have throughout the week. Going to work prepared. All right, so I'll answer your other question about the delicious, unhealthy fare at work, is going to work prepared, eating in advance of when you're going to be in front of this food, and that way you're full or satisfied. You want to be satisfied, not, unbuckling your pants, and you're feeling a lot better. You don't really feel the need to indulge in that because you're not hungry all the time. Now, how to structure an eating plan. Now, I personally have figured out through my years of research, trial and error, my 7 different fitness and nutrition certifications, I figured out that my body, and this is just me, this may not be you, BJ, this may not be anybody here in the group, my body operates best when I eat a big breakfast within an hour of waking up. Then I won't eat again till mid-afternoon, so 3 or 4 p.m. I'll eat a snack. Usually it's either an apple or a handful or 2 of some organic raw Brazil nuts or almonds. And then after that, what I'll do is I'll eat a heavy dinner, probably 7 or 8 o'clock at night. That's my food for the day. That's how my body works. Now, your body may be different, and you do allude to the point here in this part of the question that you're always hungry. I'd venture to guess that the reason you're probably always hungry is because you are probably ingesting, 2 things. Either one, you're under eating. So in general, your body just needs more food. A lot of people, they try to go on a caloric deficit or reduce their portions. If you're on Weight Watchers, watch your points. And look, for a short-term period, it works. But one of the most common things that my clients have gone through prior to working with me is Weight Watchers. I know, BJ, you're not on Weight Watchers, but I'm just saying in general here for the folks here in the permanent weight loss community. And Weight Watchers has you count points. They assign a point total to different foods, anywhere from 1 to I don't know what, and you go from there. Now, the problem with that is that they forgive a lot of foods. They don't really take any biology into the equation. All Weight Watchers is another version of portion control. And when that's all you're doing, eventually you're going to get into too much of a caloric deficit. Your body's going to go into a starvation mode. I know some studies have come out recently kind of trying to debunk that starvation mode, but dude, look, I was 100 pounds overweight. In the first 4 months of just eating less and exercising more, I lost 40 of the 100 pounds. Pretty good, right? I was stuck for 3 years after that. I continued to restrict calories. I continued to try and elevate the amount of time I spent in the gym. All it resulted in me was being hungry, irritable, losing muscle mass, and feeling like shit. It wasn't until I tweaked my thinking on nutrition and started looking at things from a quality perspective that things really began to change. So for you, BJ, I'd recommend potentially, I don't know what you eat on a day-to-day basis. I know you've privately talked to me about this very, very briefly, but I'd recommend taking out a lot of the carbs. I don't care if they're quick, high glycemic, refined carbs or complex carbs that allegedly delay. And I try to add in some more fats and proteins. So avocado is great, eggs are great, any grilled or baked meat is great. Maybe include some more fish if you're not eating some fish, and try and cut back on a lot of the high starch carbs. And a lot of people eat rice. They think that that's good for you. Sweet potatoes, they think that that's good for you. Unfortunately, these are very high glycemic carbs that will do damage to your weight loss efforts and in turn your health as well. So I would definitely recommend adding in some more healthy fats, some more protein. Those will fill you up more, especially fats. From a caloric perspective, fat is 9 calories per gram as opposed to carbs and proteins, which are 4. So fat fills you up more than double what carbs or protein will fill you up. And also, just based on the biological processes that our bodies go through when they're digesting these different macronutrients being carbs, proteins, and fats, fat takes a hell of a lot longer than any carb, than any protein. and that way you stay fuller for longer. So I would definitely recommend maybe making that tweak. And when you're eating a higher quality diet, then you can start listening to your body and eating only when hungry. So we've been on this regimented schedule where we got to eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, and a couple of snacks in between. So 5 or 6 small meals a day, crap like that. Look, that's not really effective. It only works when you're eating a high carb diet and you are hungry every few hours, like you alluded to. You don't want that. So fill yourself up with some healthy fats and some protein. I think you're going to be fine in that case. Cut out some of the carbs, and I think you're going to be fine. In terms of pre and post-workout nutrition, all right? So pre-workout, there's a few questions you need to ask yourself before you really decide on a good factor for this. Number one, what type of workout are you doing? Is this more of a light to moderate intensity workout, or is this more intense? All right, if it's more intense, I would recommend between 15 and 30 minutes pre-workout to have some high glycemic carbs. This is the only time that I would recommend, if you're on your weight loss journey, to have a high glycemic carb, and that is something like a banana, maybe some grapes, some watermelon. I'm sure you can think of something, but it'll hit your system like that. It'll give your body the shock that it needs and the energy that it needs to get through that intense workout. So if it's not an intense workout, though, it then depends on how far in advance you're having something to prepare. So if you're eating something like a low glycemic fruit, for example, like an apple, some berries, things like that, it takes a minimum of 15 to 30 minutes before your body even starts to digest that. And it's a slow processing and regulation. So if you're doing something like going for a walk, going on a light jog, going hiking, something where, it's not doing nothing, but it's not really making you break a sweat and really, crush yourself, then I would recommend maybe a low glycemic fruit at least 15 to 30 minutes probably closer to 30 minutes to 45 minutes in advance, just to make sure that it's beginning to digest and you're getting a little bit of energy so you can enter that at a higher energy level. If you're not able to ingest anything within 15 to 45 minutes in advance of any type of workout, then I would recommend a handful or two of some organic raw nuts or seeds. A couple of my favorites are almonds and Brazil nuts. So I'll have a couple of those, and because it's a healthy fat, there's a very slow release of energy into your body, and it stays there for hours. So if you're going for a walk or a hike or something light, like I just said, and you can't have a low glycemic fruit 15 to 45 minutes in advance, then I would definitely recommend some nuts at least an hour and a half in advance. You could even have it a couple of hours in advance, and you'll still feel the benefits if you're doing a light to moderate intensity workout. On the post-workout side, it also depends on the intensity with which you're hitting your workout. So if it's an intense workout, you're really sweating, you're panting, you definitely did some damage to your muscles and you ripped your muscles, not like a muscle tear. A lot of people think that a rip means muscle tear. No, when you build muscle, when you're working your body, you do rip muscle, and your muscles need to heal themselves, and they're very good at doing that, but you can definitely assist that by your post-workout nutrition. So what a lot of people like to do post-workout is, I'd say within an hour after you work out, if you're doing an intense workout, have a protein shake. I recommend a couple. I'll include them in the comments after I'm done recording. If you're not allergic to dairy, Natural Force makes a great organic whey protein powder. It's literally just organic whey, vanilla extract, and stevia leaf powder, and it's delicious. It mixes extremely well with any liquid. That's great. If your whey doesn't agree with you, you can have a plant-based protein made out of hemp from Onnit. I will include a link to both, like I said, in the comments when I'm done recording this for you guys, and that way you can access it. But I'd have that within 60 minutes post-workout. That just helps your muscles recover. Protein helps build muscle and helps your muscles recover. What also helps your muscles recover from an intense workout where you definitely inflicted some damage on your muscles is a high glycemic carb. This is the time if you really, I'm talking like intense, like I said, you finish the workout on your back, panting, sweating, all that stuff. If it was that intense, you're going to need an extra boost. You're going to need to boost your muscle glycogen stores. In order to do that, you're going to have to ingest a high glycemic carbohydrate. This can be anything. If dairy agrees with you, you can have your protein shake, whether it's the whey or the hemp protein. You can have it with some organic whole milk. A cup of organic whole milk has 16 grams of sugar. That's high glycemic, but that's going to go straight to your muscles. Your body's going to eat that up. It needs that. And that, between that and the protein, is going to help the reparation process. Other high glycemic carbs that I recommend, baked potato, baked sweet potato, those are also great sources because they're natural. They are high glycemic, so again, I don't recommend you ingest those on a regular basis. But if you're having it within an hour of a very intense workout, it's going to help you recover so you're not as sore in the days to come, and your muscles are able to recover a heck of a lot faster, again, because of the complement of the high glycemic carbohydrates and the protein. Your muscle glycogen stores will replenish a lot faster. So that's what I recommend. If it's not an intense workout, you may not really need anything at all. If you want to be safe, I would recommend a protein shake. But again, you don't necessarily need it. If you have an appetite, and usually with a light to moderate workout, you will have worked up an appetite within 30 to 60 minutes after you finished it up, then all you need to do is have a meal, and that can be any type of grilled, baked, roasted meat with some non-starchy vegetables, and that's a perfect dinner, and that's something that'll go over well. You could drizzle it with a healthy oil like extra virgin olive oil or avocado oil, and there you go. That's perfect. So, BJ, I hope I answered your questions. If there's anything I left, healthy snacks. This is the last thing. So healthy snacks, there was a video on this that I did yesterday, so I'm not going to hark on this too much. If you guys want to see it, just scroll down a little bit on the page. You'll be able to find it. But basically, my 4 go-to healthy snacks: 1, organic raw nuts and seeds. Just a handful or 2 should be fine. Again, my favorites are almonds and Brazil nuts. So again, a handful or 2 of those, and I'm good for at least 3 or 4 hours, at least. Sometimes if I'm famished, I'm in the car, I have the canister of those in my glove box, I'll literally just grab and go as needed, and that's really it, all right? So there's that. And then outside of the nuts and seeds, you can have non-starchy vegetables, so stay away from corn, beans, potatoes, and sweet potatoes. My turn-tos in that case are celery sticks, carrot sticks, and broccoli florets. But you can have any raw non-starchy vegetable. And a quick tip, if you want to flavor it up a little bit, is you put it in a Ziploc bag. So you take whatever you want, you drizzle some extra virgin olive oil or avocado in there, sprinkle some sea salt or some pink Himalayan salt in there, close up the Ziploc bag, shake it up a little bit for about 30 seconds, and voila, you got a tasty, cruciferous treat that's definitely going to help you stay full because of the high fiber content on your weight loss journey. Number 3, low glycemic fruits. So I went on over this in a couple of videos for the group, but to review, the glycemic index is a rating from 0 to 100. 0 meaning there's no sugar in the food whatsoever, 100 meaning all there is sugar. All fruits and vegetables and pretty much all foods fall somewhere along the spectrum. A low glycemic fruit ranks anywhere from 0 to 49 on the glycemic index. So some of the best that I prefer are any type of berry, doesn't matter what kind of berry, any type of berry, cherries, oranges, pears, and apples, and avocados. Avocados are a fruit, and they're loaded with healthy fat. Avocados, that'll fill you up quick. Have an avocado, you'll be good for a while. Same goes with with an apple. I usually have an apple every afternoon at 3 or 4 o'clock. That's usually my turn to. So then occasionally when I run out of apples, I'll either turn to some organic raw nuts and seeds, or I'll have a Quest bar, and that's going to lead me to the last thing. So if you're really on the go and you don't have time to even throw a handful or 2 of something into a bag, then I'd recommend a Quest bar. I don't have an affiliation with Quest bar. They don't pay me in any way, shape, or form, but Quest bars are great. Quest bars are outstanding. They're not the best from a nutritional perspective, but they're very low in terms of their net carb content. They're loaded with fiber, they're loaded with protein, and I can have a bar on the go and I'm going to be good for a while. So those are my 4 turn twos. Sonia, who I'm going to answer her question in just a second, also does cottage cheese, organic cheese sticks. These are good if you don't have a dairy allergy, which I do. So unfortunately, those are not my go-tos. But before I knew I had a dairy allergy, those are also some turn twos that I did as well. So BJ, I hope I answered all your questions. I'm just going to check. There aren't any comments in here. So let's move on to Sonia's question, all right? So Sonia asks, how to stay motivated and not discouraged when you plateau, and how to overcome when one plateaus. So in order to stay motivated and not get discouraged, it depends on how long your plateau is happening. So a lot of you are familiar with my story. After the first 4 months and 40 pounds down, I plateaued for almost 3 years. And no matter how severely I restricted calories or portions and how much I increased my exercise output, I wasn't losing any weight. Nothing was happening. Nothing was changing. And I think there's a few things to keep in mind, Sonia. So number one, I would try to keep as much data as possible. And what I mean by that is, weight to me isn't all that important. We've put this huge crux on it because it's easy. You buy a scale, you go in the bathroom, and you check your weight, and there you go. It spits out a number right away. It's easy. However, there are other indicators that you're losing weight. Have you lost inches? How do you know? If you have a tape measure, I mean, they're very cheap. You can buy a tape measure if you don't have one. And if you live with anyone, or you know anyone at work, or you have friends who can help you, have them once a week on the same day measure you from your neck all the way down to your ankles, and you'll see changes will be occurring. So sometimes you may not be losing pounds, but you may be losing inches. And to think about it from a vanity perspective, if you're losing inches, people are going to notice. If you're losing a few pounds, they're probably not going to notice. In fact, I think, it's not until you lose 10 to 15 pounds that anybody really notices. I think that was a study that came out in recent years. So it's definitely important to keep as much data as possible. And I also recommend that you take some progress photos once a week from the front, back, and side, and just keep that in its own separate folder, whether it's on your computer, your tablet, or your phone, and just scroll through week to week and see, oh yeah, my midsection's coming in, my hips are coming in, whatever your problem areas are, they're toning up. That's going to be crucial because that's a visual change. And because we look in the mirror and we see ourselves every day, it's hard to keep perspective that, things are changing. And also, Sonia, it's important to acknowledge, are you feeling better? Do you have more energy? Do you have more mental clarity? Are you not, are you becoming more positive? These are all things. Is inflammation, so if you had joint pain and things like that, has that subsided since you started eating better and making better healthy lifestyle choices? That all factors into continuing your motivation. And in fact, yesterday I posted a training too that I did for my Holiday Jumpstart program here in the group last night, so just scroll down below if you want to check that out. But one of the women in there, Lisa, she explained that she's never been this motivated. And I firmly believe that the reason that she hasn't been this motivated and the reason she's staying on track, despite, what she said in her mind, even though she cut back and say, hey, look, a pound to 2 pounds a week is great, which is right where she's at, is that she's feeling better. She has more energy. And when that happens, it's a lot easier to stay on track because when you eat something crappy or you drink something crappy, it's going to not only mess with your body and your brain chemistry, but it's not going to make you feel good because your body's been shifting into this point of optimization. And if you're not optimizing your body, if you're not eating right, if you're not exercising regularly, that's going to cause some issue. So in order to stay motivated, I would just stay the course. And if something's not working, if you're gaining weight, let's say, it's one thing if you maintain 1 week, you don't lose any pounds, you don't lose any inches, whatever. That's part of the process. But if you're gaining, then something's wrong. And then you have to look at the whole scheme of what you're doing, more specifically the nutrition side, and you have to ask yourself, are you eating something that may be hindering your weight loss efforts? Sometimes it's apparent, sometimes, I've been sneaking a cookie, or I've had a few too many treats this week, I need to cut back on those. Okay, cut back the next week. Let's see what the results are the following week. Sometimes it's not as obvious. Maybe you have a food allergy, even if it's to a healthy food. Like with myself, when I eliminated dairy from my diet, the last 15 pounds of the 100 that I lost, it was gone in a month. I didn't change anything. I was eating the same amount. I was exercising the same amount. Nothing else in my life changed, but I noticed my inflammation and some of my joints, I had knee pain and hip pain and my back pain all went away. I was thinking more clearly, I had more energy, and my body changed. Just in 15 pounds, my body changed more during that period than in any other period throughout the 100-pound weight loss journey. So you might also have a food allergy. So it's important, Sonia, to keep in mind, and for anybody here who may be struggling with a plateau, don't get discouraged if you maintain 1 week. It's not a big deal. Try to keep as much data as possible so that, hey, you didn't lose pounds, but you lost inches. Awesome. And same with the progress photos. You may not have lost pounds, you may not have even lost inches, but hey, compared to where you were last week, you can see your face is leaned up, your neck is leaned up, wherever your problem areas are, they leaned up. So keep as much data as possible, and if you're gaining weight, then you know something's off and you need to do something to correct it. So I hope I answered your question. Thanks guys for checking in. We're going to be doing this again every Thursday at 12 Eastern time. So if you have a question, even if you can't make it, I know a lot of you are international and you're not in the same time zone, and for some of you it's nighttime or even overnight the next day. So if you're not able to make this, no worries. Obviously, it's going to be posted up in the group. Just leave your question or comment that you'd like me to cover when I ask what you'd like me to cover, and we'll go from there. For that, I'm Pete Weintraub, Permanent Weight Loss Specialist. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next week.